All right, my friends, this is normally the time that we do it at 8 a.m., but today we have a little switch, so it's 11 a.m., and I want to thank you so much for being here. And there's so much to talk about, so much to discuss on so many levels. First of all, we are kicking her ass. I don't know if anybody really, I don't know if you're really grasping this, because it may be difficult for you to do so. I don't know if you can really, really, truly understand the level by which her arse is being kicked. It is brutal. It is brutal. There is no good news for her. She's just floundering. Even the apparatchiks on local TVs, they don't know what to do. They have no earthly idea as to what to do. What do they say? She's abandoned this. It's the strangest thing. I cannot think of any other word. Freedom even knows. Freedom says enough about Timmy and Kamala. Donald J. Trump needs to win on November 6th. End of story. Well, freedom, yeah, but if he wins, he has to beat them. So, yeah, we have to mention them. Because remember, everybody knows about him. It's them. And you bring up a very good point. Do you promote him or her? I think it's much easier to say, look, what are you going to talk about with Trump? He's going to be great with the economy, great with the thing. I know he's going to close the borders. Yeah. But freedom, when you have somebody who sucks this bad, you mean to tell me you would honestly say enough with her and Tampon Tim? And by the way, can I ask a silly question? Just asking Mrs. O. I'm just asking. If you have machinery or dispensers or machines or whatever you want to call them in boys' rooms under Tampon Timmy, do they have pads as well and other types of feminine equipment, accoutrement, dare I say? Is it just all exclusively tampons? Just saying. Just saying. Just saying. Okay? That's all I'm saying. Yesterday I was at a CVS, and you know how you stand there and they have, they just want to have everybody, push people around and push people in and push people there. So I was standing there, and there was a nice older man there, and he's taking his stuff out. They always have that, put the bagging area, to put it here. Is this the bagging area? Is this the put it in the, is it this the one that determines the weight, or the other one? Anyway, so he's taking his stuff out, and they had something called male or man's pant shields. They're basically depends, but pads for men. Okay, listen, don't laugh. Don't laugh. So I was thinking about this, and here he's very big. He's buying them pants. I mean, what difference does it make if you're buying pants? I mean, nobody's going to see this, but they have apparently these devices, these things called pants, I guess, for slippage or whatever you want to call it. So it made me think, well, do all women merely, do all people only prefer tampons? Just a question. Not going to spend a lot of time on that. Just to thought. I know that Sid Green's got a lot of interesting things to say about it. Nightingale too has a lot to discuss. Last night was the Al Smith dinner, and there's a friend of mine who, bless his heart, he was there. He's a good friend of mine. I would rather drink bleach than spend 5 minutes at the Hilton with whitetails eating bad food, sitting next to the most boring people on the face of the earth. Chuck Schumer, other than Trump, Chuck Schumer, Cardinal Dolan, Letitia James, Bobby Kennedy Jr. May I ask you a question? Do you really want to spend any time with Bobby Kennedy Jr.? I don't. I'll tell you who I'd like to spend time. If I could actually go and talk to somebody, I think Elon would be interesting just by virtue of his view of the world. And that's about it. I don't know if anybody, and I know there are people here in New York who still hang on to this because there's so little events where the glitterati, so to speak, show up. But these people are boring. There's an event in New York called the Inner Circle. I would rather take my tongue and put a carpet tack on particle board and hammer it into it, my tongue, or split the frenulum at the bottom of the tongue and gargle alcohol, then go to a thing called the Inner Circle. These are people in the press corps who think they're important, and they put on these terrible, like the worst HR skits you've ever seen in your life, and they convince each other that they're important because they want so much to be cool. And remember, the interesting people are not the cool people, the ones who pat themselves on the back. And you can sit around in New York and you can say, oh, you can talk about, there's billionaires. They're the most boring people in the world. Absolutely the most boring. Mike Bloomberg was there. Boring, with the exception of Trump. Bobby Dowd says, Trump wins. What will happen between Election Day and Inauguration Day? Why am I feeling anxious? Of course you should feel anxious. You should expect everything from COVID, nuclear attack, aphids, tsunamis, civil war, uncivil war, everything, because these rat bastards, I don't know. All I know is he's going to win. I'm not worried about that. He's going to win. On January 20th, that's all right. And even then, we're ready for this. That's okay. But you know what? Seriously, it's a different time. They shot their wad, these people. I'm sorry to say it. They already did it. What are they going to do now? It's like enough. They have to kind of like wait a little bit, keep their powder dry and wait for something big. This is just nothing. Let's go, by the way, to this wonderful event. This is President Trump busting balls. Absolutely.
The Democrats were crazy for saying that men have periods.
Now, I love this. Look at Cardinal Dolan. His name is Timothy Cardinal Dolan. They always put the cardinal in the middle. I don't know why they do that. What if your name was Cardinal? By the way, Jim Gaffigan, the worst MC ever. It was horrible. Look at these. Does this look like the worst event ever? Look at these people. These are the most boring people on the face of the earth. And let me tell you something. There are these pathetic New York folks who want so hard to kiss everybody's ass and to be at every event and to take pictures so they can put them on Instagram or Facebook to say, see, look, here I am. Ooh, you look so beautiful. Losers. I'd rather watch old Peyton Place, be in the missus, maybe order a pizza and have some fun. This is ridiculous. I don't fit in. None of these people. Cardinal Dolan, nice guy. Mr. Gladhander, Cardinal O'Connor. Now that was a different story. Anyway, let's go back. Here's Trump busting their balls about period jokes. I love it.
I used to think the Democrats were crazy for saying that men have periods, but then I met Tim Walz.
Look at Cardinal. Look at Dolan. And don't laugh, you rat bastards, including you, Chuck Schumer. Don't pretend like, ooh, that's unfortunate. That's what these sick mother farkers are talking about. This is what they're talking about. This has been your party. So don't act all of a sudden like bent out of shape, like, ooh, that was untoward. You sick bastards were the ones who were doing this. You were the ones, not me. Don't look at me, okay? And by the way, I got a lot of problem too. Remember, I'm a retired Catholic. I had wonderful nuns in particular. The priests were okay, but the nuns were great. And I'm going to tell Cardinal Dolan, everybody else, where were you for all these years when priests were diddling little boys? Everybody knew it. Everybody knew it. The Pope, pastors, the bishops, it was the most ridiculous thing in the world. I will never forget that. There was no excuse for that, okay? There was no excuse for this. Catholic people are wonderful people. But when you take boys in the old day, pull them out of the regular advancement, going out, dating, finding out who they are, or putting them in a seminary with a bunch of men who are sitting around in some weird circle jerk. I'm sorry. There's something weird about that. It's not natural. What are you, the Marines? They've never addressed this. This is one thing where everybody's and they're basically kissing everybody's ass at this Al Smith function because they're in New York, and that's what people do. This is the ass kissing center of the world. People sell their souls. There is not one person, with the exception of President Trump, who is worth talking to. They're boring. They're boring because they feel like because of who they are. These are people who are hideous. You go, he's a hedge funder. And all of a sudden they have friends, even though they couldn't lure me out of a burning building. Now, in the meantime, this lunatic is trying new ways to try something differently. Here's her I'm pissed off mood.
Never again stand behind the seal of the President of the United States.
What is this?
Never again. Never again. Never again.
Here's what the hell she's saying. She's saying never again. You know what she's thinking? She's thinking to herself, I tried this kind of bitchy mode. I might give this a shot. What do you think? I should try that? Should I try that? Maybe I should try this mode. I don't know about that. Maybe I should try that. I'll give it a shot. Here the Trump was on this show. Oh God, listen, with all due respect, God love these people. But please, I gotta ask you a question. The Fox morning show is just, thank God it's the subject matter. This is the best you can do. You know who's doing better? Is that young man Lawrence. He's doing better. Much better. I don't know what they're doing, but maybe they're okay. I get it. Okay. But he's actually doing better. Ducey is like your uncle. He's like the guy at the Walmart. Hey, how are you? Hey, You know, he reminds me of one of those animatronics at Stu Leonard's, you know, the little cowboy. Look at me, I'm a farmer. Ooh. You know, these animatronic types. Ainsley, well, this is simple. This is Hannity's gal. That's it. She's nice, but reads notes like you can't believe. And isn't it true, Mr. President, that in 2024, just a minute, you lowered inflation by, she does nothing. Either that the old day was she was just like, I'm nice, which is fine. Kilmeade, I don't know. But here was the president, at least, doing, he's on every show, even thyroid or typhoid or whatever the guy is, the big fat guy with the tats and the hat backwards. I don't know who he is, but he was on his show yesterday.
But we'll fix it. We got a 6-year-old from Massachusetts, and he wants to know about your favorite animal. Let's watch.
Now, first of all, but by the way, Lawrence, good for you. You said Massachusetts correctly. You know what I remember from Captain Kangaroo? MASSACHUSETTS. That's what I remember hearing as a kid. I remember Massachusetts. And my cookie letter cookie. All right, here we go. Here's the president. Ask, what's your favorite animal? Okay? It was a slow day.
President, my name is Briar. I'm 6 years old. I live on a farm in Massachusetts. What's your favorite farm animal?
Favorite farm animal?
What's the animal?
Well, this guy grew up in the city.
I'll tell you what I love. I love cows. But if we go with Kamala, you won't have any cows anymore because you're not allowed. I don't want to ruin this kid's day. But I love cows. I think they're so cute and so beautiful and so productive. But according to Kamala, who's a radical left lunatic, you will not have any cows anymore. So we have to vote her out. If you like cows, you have to vote.
I know.
By the way, a couple of things. He's making obvious reference, I believe, to the flatulence reference, maybe, or because maybe because people, you don't really eat a cow, you eat a steer. But anyway, if it is regarding flatulence, It's not the cow farts, the bovine flatus that causes it. In fact, Mrs. Ellen and I were discussing that before. It's not that, it's the eructation, the borborygmus, the belching. That's what does it. It's not the farting, okay? Understand that. And my favorite animal, by the way, anything involving camouflage. Is it the archer fish? I forget. What's that one that opens up his mouth and he has a little worm? It's a fish, but it's not a farm. But anyway, he has a little worm or something wiggling on top of his head, that little thing. And the fish come up and doesn't chase him down, doesn't do anything. He just sits with his mouth. Like, come here, over here. I like is it the angler fish or the archer fish that can shoot, can figure out parallax, get a bug on a twig, shoot a stream through the water, adjusting for parallax, which is brilliant. Oh, and one more thing. Let me forget. Listen to Uncle Lenny. Don't take pictures of your ballots. Don't do any selfie ballots. They may be against the law for you to publish even your own ballot, either on local media, social media, or local media, whatever the hell that is, on a cell phone. Do not do that. I was reading the New York statute today, and it may be construed as, I don't know if anybody's ever been arrested for this or charged, but don't do it. Susan C. says they are not transitioning from one sex to another. They are making eunuchs out of innocent children. Interesting, yes. You know, you never talk about transitioning from girls to boys. You notice that? You don't really talk about that. I mean, if they do, it's like, well, yeah. I mean, you do. Maybe they'll take some testosterone. But when the boys go to being a girl, that's deadly. This is the most ridiculous thing in the world. And that's why I've been telling people the number one thing in the world to do, the number one thing, the number one issue, the number one has been that, not this other nonsense. Listen to Uncle Lenny. Go for the stuff that makes the most sense. It's that simple. And speaking of which, let me ask you something. This is very, very important. Have you contacted preparedwithlionel.com? Do you remember what happened? Remember the longshoreman? We're going to grab him by the neck. We're going to show you bastards what's going on here. We're the longshoremen. We're going to shut it down. We don't get the 2% rate. Remember that? And then they said, okay, we're going to wait till after the election. They're telling you, preparewithlionel.com. Have you gone there? Have you purchased food? What are you waiting for? I don't understand this. I'm not asking you to buy a car. We're not talking about minks or furs or jewelry, as people say. No, this is emergency food. Preparewithlionel.com. I don't have to explain this to you. I think you know it. But you have to at least go. Start off with a week's supply. Start off with 2 weeks, 90 days, a week, a bug out bag. They've got every conceivable ways of accommodating emergency. Listen to Uncle Lenny. Don't make me say this again. This isn't for me. It's for you. Preparewithlionel.com. Go there. They've now got this is the deal of them all. 3-month emergency food kit. You're set. And if the emergency is not 3 months, great. They last 25 years. 25 years. You're set. Preparewithlionel.com. All right, let's go. How about these other Al Smith moments last night with the president? This guy's working. I get exhausted. I don't know about you, but I like sometimes a nice kind of a nap. I'm a napper. I'm like a very, how do I say this? I'm very European in some respects. I get a lot of juice power. You know, this guy goes all the time. He had to go to this godforsaken, boring event. But listen, these are his top 5 moments, as some people believe.
I think the Democrats were crazy for saying that men have periods, but then
I love this. Keep sticking with that. They handed you this gift. Periods men, Leah Thomas, men walking around with their schwanz hanging out in the locker rooms. Tell people the way it is.
I met Tim Walz. Well,
Yeah.
but then I met Tim Walz.
You missed the whole joke. I interrupted.
I used to think the Democrats were crazy for saying that men have periods, but then I met Tim Walz. Well, I'd better wrap up because Mayor Adams told me earlier that I needed to make this one very quick, especially the city has reserved this room for a large group of illegal aliens coming in from Texas.
That's absolutely brilliant. Look at these stiffs. Look at these jadrules behind them. Look, what kind of an event? It's like a funeral. It's a morgue.
There's a group called White Dudes for Harris. Have you seen this? White Dudes for Harris. Anybody know? Are some of you here? White Dudes for Harris? Doesn't sound like it. But I'm not worried about them at all because their wives and their wives' lovers are all voting for me.
Now, okay, yeah, I think I know what that means. But we have to extrapolate that a little bit. I'm thinking, I know what the joke was, but is that what they thought it was? Meaning that white dudes are really not, they're kind of in the Walz category. So that, in any event.
A major issue in this race is childcare, and Kamala has put forward a concept of a plan. A lot of people don't like it. The only piece of advice I would have for her in the event that she wins would be not to let her husband, Doug, anywhere near the nannies. Just keep him away.
Slappy. Now, he is so good. He goes right for the throat. Now, watch this. I like when Trump admonishes himself.
That's a nasty one.
I love that. Look at these stiffs behind him. Who are these people? They're on the dais. Who's that, Mike Johnson? Or is that, I don't even know. These people are so boring. My God, they're boring. This is the elite.
Chuck Schumer is here looking very glum. Doesn't he look glum? It looks glum. But look on the bright side, Chuck, considering how woke your party has become. If Kamala loses, you still have a chance to become the first woman president.
Get in here. Now, again, is it the joke because you can transition? You are a woman. I don't mean to be dense here. I always read too much in this stuff. That was terrible with true or false, questions. I'm thinking about the exceptions. It's a trick. I was listening today. Good friend of mine, Mark Simone, good guy, has the only talk radio show in New York or anywhere that's actual terrestrial that I would ever want to listen to. First 20 minutes. Well, I got to go news, sports, and weather, which is just so boring. But anyway, but you go through this. But he said something very good. And Mark was there last night. He said that he knew, because he knows this, he knew that Chuck Schumer, if he knows he's going someplace, he'll say, look, I'm not going to be there if Trump's going to be there. Come on, Chuck, I'm not going to be there if Trump's going to be there. Or he'll say, all right, I'll be there, but make sure you put me across the room. I'm not sitting next to that guy. Okay. So word has it, that for Schumer to be sitting right next to Trump means he knows. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. Okay. Then, of course, we got this one who is just, let's face it.
40 law enforcement officers were injured that day.
There were no law enforcement officers, by the way, killed on January 6th.
Law enforcement officers were killed that day.
There were no law enforcement officers killed. Ashley Babbitt was killed.
140 law enforcement officers were injured that day.
I don't think they were injured. I don't. The 140, you could argue, but what do you mean injured? But murdered, dead? No, none.
Law enforcement officers were killed that day.
None. Why do they keep saying this? Why do they keep saying this? Can you figure this one out? Now, let me tell you this one. You're going to love this. Now, please remember, they have the best. Let me explain this to you. How do I say this? I have a friend of mine who for years worked in every aspect, every tier of every echelon of the comedy world, everyone. And he said that unfortunately, a lot of the people today running the comedy world are a bunch of these, dare I say, these weird, husbandless cat ladies into DEI kind of weird. Think that broad from Bush Bud Light. Remember her? Remember her with the teeth? Remember her in the wet hair? Remember that one? By the way, speaking of the teeth, the one from New Zealand was knighted, or she's a dame. Can you believe that? This draconian heart, in any event. So, comedy's dead. Dead. You want to work today? Forget it. If you're raucous, righteous, whatever, dead. You're dead. You've got a DEI. By the way, that word has become so incredibly connected with everything that's horrible with the world. But in any event, that's that. Okay, you got that. Now, Kamala decides I'm not going to be there. I'm not going to be at the biggest event. This is for Catholic charities and Catholics, but every politician has done this. You, if you really were a Paul, you would beg to be there. Not her, because she realizes, look, I'm not going to win. And number two, I just don't need you. I don't need a bunch of stuffy New York Catholics, and I don't care about you. Catholics aren't too cool about abortion, and that's her main thing, because of course her promise is a chicken in every pot and an abortion in every household. So anyway, this is, now let me just say this. She could have anybody. She's not there at the Al Smith event, so she says, I'm gonna remotely or virtually, meaning I'm gonna record something. She could have had anybody she wanted. She could have called up Spielberg, Francis, give me the best comedy writers there are, the best. Bruce Vilanch, who actually was pretty good, the ones from the old day. Anybody, okay? Do me something, give me something contemporary, nothing staid, nothing hoary, Hoary, white and venerable with age. All right, make me look good. So what did they do?
Oh, sorry.
Hey, what's going on?
Now, did you see this one? Molly Shannon, SNL, Molly Shannon. What year was that? 1958, I think it was. Molly Shannon from SNL. Now, most people, youngsters, are watching and saying, who the hell is this? That's like having, church lady or something, or, we're going to pump you up. I mean, or Fernando, you look marvelous. That was great then. So immediately somebody said, let's bring out Molly Shannon, who right now is, I think, in her early 80s. She's in retirement home in Bradenton. And they got her up here. And here's Kamala acting surprised as all of a sudden she's interrupted by this is the Catholic schoolgirl a bit.
Cool. Oh, sorry.
Hey, what's going on? Who was that?
Oh, sorry, Mary Catherine Elliott. Mary Catherine Elliott. It's so nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you, Mary Catherine. Right.
Mary Catherine. People are saying right now again, who's Mary Catherine? Who is this? Right? This is young people. Maybe people voting for the first time. They don't remember this. Maybe Jerry Colonna, we can have some of him, or maybe some Georgie Jessel routine.
Now I'm trying to record my speech for tonight's dinner.
Oh, yeah, I know. I just want to say that I'm Catholic, and tonight is one of the biggest dinners next to the Last Supper.
Now, right off the bat, you're pissing off Catholics. You're pissing them off. Gretchen Whitmer did that with the Dorito thing. You got Bill Donahue from the Catholic League. Why are you doing this? You're talking about Catholics. They're not going to take, they know you're mocking this. Why are you doing this? Why are you getting this repressed, nervous girl with the cat? By the way, do Catholic girls wear the uniforms anymore? Like this? Yeah, but those are like those magnet schools, or anyway, we'll see.
Yeah, I know. I just want to say that I'm Catholic, and tonight is one of the biggest dinners next to the Last Supper.
It is a very important dinner, and it's an important tradition that I'm so proud to be a part of.
Sometimes when I get nervous,
You're not a part of this because you're not there. Now listen to this joke, which is so disgusting. All right. Now disgusting. I mean, I'm not disgusted by it. Rotting bodies don't disgust me. But think about this, especially people who don't know who Mary Catherine, whatever is.
And it's an important tradition that I'm so proud to be a part of.
Sometimes when I get nervous, I stick my fingers under my arms and I simmer them like that. But that's gross.
So tell me something.
What was that about? What was that about? Seriously. I'm not a prude. Believe me, if you know me, I will gross you out. I know jokes. I know my sense of humor is so vile, so Neanderthals, and very rarefied. So I have no problem with the concept of it. But at the Al Smith dinner, with you're not there. You're running for president. Somebody gives you this routine. Why?
Giving a speech, do you have some thoughts about what I might say tonight?
My feelings about what you should say tonight would be best expressed in a monologue from one of my favorite made-for-TV series.
Okay.
Why are you suspending your message for this redux, this revival of Molly Shannon?
Let's hear it.
Don't you see, man? We need a woman to represent us. A woman brings more heart, more compassion. And think how smart she must be to become a top contender in a field dominated by men.
This is at the Al Smith dinner. Let me just remind you. Let me just tell you who the audience is, okay? You got this? And it's never about Kamala. It's the fact that she's a woman, or she's black, or she's Asian, or she walks around making little caterpillar gestures with her fingers.
It's time for a woman, bro. And with this woman,
that's the faux black reference that you're probably familiar with.
we can fly.
What series was that from?
Oh, that's from House of Dragons, now streaming on HBO Max.
Is there anything that you think that maybe I shouldn't bring up tonight?
Well, don't lie. Thou shalt not bear false witness to thy neighbor.
Why are you wasting your time? Again, I'm just saying this is some comedy genius thought of this. This is your time. You knew that when you did this, it would be viral. You get Dom Luker or one of those guys up there, and immediately, Trump, a War Room or RNZ, they're going to get a hold of this. This is going to be forever burned into posterity. This is what you came up with?
Indeed, especially thy neighbor's election results.
Just so you know, there will be a...
Now, think about this. Do you see what she just did? She's making a joke about coveting or stealing elections.
What series was that from?
Oh, that's from House of Dragons, now streaming on HBO Max.
Is there anything that you think that maybe I shouldn't bring up tonight?
Well, don't lie. Thou shalt not bear false witness to thy neighbor.
Indeed, especially thy neighbor's election results.
Just
election results. And who are the people responsible for stealing more election results than anybody in the history of mankind? Ta-da!
you know, there will be a fact checker there tonight.
Oh, that's great. Who?
Jesus. And maybe don't say anything negative about Catholics.
Make fun of them. Now imagine this was B'nai B'rith or some Jewish organization, and they brought somebody, a Hasidic scholar or somebody with the payas and the kippah and no. You see, Catholics, irrespective of what you might think now, they're open game. You can always slam Christians, but definitely Catholics. See, this is already, they're not finding this funny.
I would never do that, no matter where I was. That would be like criticizing Detroit in Detroit.
Does it bother you that Trump guy insults you all the time? Because it really bothers my friends and me.
Oh, Mary Catherine, it's very important to always remember you should never let anyone tell you who you are. You tell them who you are.
Haters gonna hate, hate, hate. Shake it off.
Shake it off.
Shake it off.
Shake it off. Good for you, Mary Catherine.
Oh, yeah, okay. And also remember one more thing. Don't worry if you make a mistake, because Catholic people are very forgiving. Yeah.
See that? Catholic people are very... Do you see? I mean, again, you might think this is trivial. You might not think this is a big deal. It's not trivial.
And also, one last thing I want to tell you. Don't forget to say, superstar!
Horrible.
Thank you, Mary Catherine.
Thank you,
You've
Mama.
wasted...
Thank you. Your Eminence and distinguished guests, the Al Smith dinner provides a rare opportunity
And I just wasted
to
your
set
time with this
aside partisanship and come together to do some good.
Can you believe this? You're thinking I'm making too much over this. I know how you're thinking. You're thinking, come on. No, no. There is no room for unforced errors. You have 17 days until the election. What are you doing? What are you doing? Now, a couple other things which are incredible. This I find, I don't know why. Let me explain something to you. Every accent has a smart version and a different version. Southern, you can sound like Tommy Lee Jones, or you can sound like, Gomer Pyle. You can do Spanish, you can do Ricardo Montalban or Speedy Gonzalez. It just depends. Black, urban, I'll leave it at that. You can imagine. But there's a New York guy who you can take a kind of a cracker. Remember Kojak, Telly Savalas? And it was a tough, like a tough, strong, almost like not Archie Bunker, but a kind of a strong, prototypical New York. And there's variations of that. Or you can, a guy talks like that. I'll tell you what. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that version of stupid is a guy named Donny Deutsch. And Donny Deutsch, for reasons
Republican
that
Party,
nobody will ever understand, nobody will ever, first of all, who he is, something I think he had advertising, or maybe it was his family's advertising. I don't know who he is, but all of a sudden he's on this show. Like Mike Barnacle, the plagiarist, who was on This Morning Joe. This show is just so, they're just throwing. It's like the heater is broken. They're just making kindling out of everything. They're just breaking furniture. They don't know what to do. They are at such a loss. So they bring out this numbnuts, and I swear to God, I talk kind of like this. The problem what you got to do here. He's the dork. He's the jadrul. He's the chidrulu. He's shingad. He's a babu. He's an idiot. And this one, who all her life, the daughter of Zbigniew Brzezinski, the dummy, her brother was a smart guy who was ambassador to what? Japan, or I don't know what it is. Zbig's daughter, this one, who thought she'd make it real big with Joe. They'd be the belle of Washington, and they'd love and they're sexy, and nobody cares. This pathetic show that, it is the last of the relic. They do like it in Washington, but then again, what are you going to do? In any event, watch this. Oops. This is Donny Deutsch. This is the genius. Let's get a close-up of these eyes, all right? Listen to this brilliance from Mr. Donny Deutsch or whatever.
This isn't a Republican Party right now.
No.
And they know it. So there are those who were like, wow, this isn't.
He's thinking right now, what the hell is she saying? What's she talking about? Not a Republican Party. We didn't go over this in rehearsal. I have no idea what she's talking about. Oh, for God's sakes, I got to think of something quick. It's not the Republican Party. I have no idea what else she's talking about.
The party I recognize, but what's the permission structure? Are you hearing it from any of your Republican friends in the business community?
What the hell is the permission structure? What's she talking about, this dame? I have no idea. She's got me on this show. I told her before. I said, listen, meager, for God's sakes, don't throw the permission structure. Look at this poor guy looking now, wondering, what the hell is she talking about with the permission structure?
That can be created for a vote for Kamala Harris at a time like this.
I talk, as we all talk to a lot of people who vote for Trump, and I say to them, and I still can't figure out, do they not believe it or do they not care? Do they not understand that our freedom is on the line?
Sure, and even though I'm not able to particularly explain to you what our freedom's about or how it's on the line and what particular freedoms are, being compromised, as being on the line. I'm not able to do that one, but I'm able to say right now, and I'm saying, you understand the particular freedoms. I understand the freedoms that I have and the freedoms that have been compromised, especially from President Trump, by being hit with this lawfare bullshit. He faces, what, about 900 years behind bars for doing stuff nobody understands. But that notwithstanding, don't these people really understand what the hell is going on here?
Do they not get that, or do they just not care? Do they take freedom for granted at this point? And
Sure.
I challenge people, and I say, you do understand.
You do understand,
that
but I
he will turn on this country, and he will turn us into Hungary. Do you not understand the freedom?
Orban, God forbid, a wonderful baby. Or maybe he said hungry. I have no idea. Like Hungry Man. I liked Hungry Man. Remember Swanson frozen dinners? We used to make that when I was a kid in Queens. And then the event. He's going to be a bad.
It started, as you brought it up, it started with Roe v. Wade. It will continue. It will continue by putting his enemies in jail.
It started with Roe v. Wade because last time I checked there, Danny boy, that was something which permitted and granted under a weird kind of substantive due process argument. The notion that maybe women had a right to. So it started with Roe v. Wade? You mean it started with Dobbs, which overruled Casey, which overruled Roe v. Wade? Donny, do you, by the way, you know where his name Deutsch comes from? Because that's the name, that's the sound he makes. Deutsch. He's a Deutsch.
We'll continue on having unfree media.
Unfree media. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, wait a minute, what about the Twitter? What about the Twitter files? What about the people? What about the fact that Intel used social media as proxies to basically quash and to violate your First Amendment rights, especially during COVID mania? What about that, Donnie?
There are people around this table that are really worried. Rev, are you worried?
I'm Rev. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Reverend Al Sharpton because I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I even cited because Al Sharpton, by the way, who's an FBI assailant, nobody knows what he's talking about, where he gets his money. You want to go through all the lawsuits that Al's been through? You want to talk about Freddie's, Fashion Mart, the interlopers, or what was they called? Yeah, you want to go through this Tawana Brawley? You want to talk about this paragon of virtue?
Going forward, that you're on a list if Donald Trump is elected, yes.
Look at him. He's saying, what the hell is he talking about? I have no idea. I lost all this weight. I have no idea. He used to wear a hubcap. Remember that years ago when he was Reverend Al Sharpton? He had the hair, the James Brown hair and the running suit where he wore a hubcap. This is before Flavor the Clock. He wore a hubcap on a chain, for God's sake. And this guy next to him was wondering, what the hell is going on here?
I'm convinced I'll be on the list.
I'll be on the list. Sure. I've been on a list. I've been on a FBI confidential informant list. I've been on more lists than you can imagine. Unindicted co-conspirators, suspects. You know, it comes with the territory.
I am too.
I don't know how we're not going to be.
And think about that. This is America. This is the United States of America. And people in the media, like the Rev, have to be concerned.
Now, I know what you're thinking right now. You're thinking, what the fuck is this guy talking about? And frankly, I don't know.
That they may be on a list. I have people saying to me, Donnie, are you worried?
Donnie, are you worried because of this shit? And I know what kind of list we're talking about. We're talking about a shit list, right? Let's be fair. Let's be adults. We're talking about a shit list. All right? And I'm here number one. I don't know what I'm talking about here, but for God's sakes, if you don't understand, don't vote for Trump because I'm on the shit list with the Rev here who doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. You understand what I'm talking about here? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm on the show. I don't even know what I'm on the show for. I don't even know I don't know anything. I'm Donny Deutsch, for God's sake. Look at me. Listen to me. Why am I on this show? I have no idea. I don't even, it's not, I pictures of anybody? No. I'm not stopping this one. Nothing. I don't even know why I'm here. This is how bad it is.
America.
I'm going to start yelling, too, for no particular reason. So I'm Donny Deutsch. Vote for me and keep me off the list. Okay. Now this next one is so beautiful. This was, let me get the correct one. This was, let me see here. This was a group, hang on a minute. Okay, this is a group this is a Japanese choir performing God Bless America at the Rod of Iron Freedom Festival of Pennsylvania. And they say, quote, we also strongly believe that Mr. Trump is the only president who can stop the threat of World War III. Watch how wonderful this is. These great and good. This is diversity. This is it.
Not born here, but we believe that America is the last stronghold of freedom.
Don't you love that? I start to well up when I see foreign people waving our flag, appreciating our country and our freedom sometimes better than we do. That's me.
For the whole world. We also strongly believe that Mr. Trump is the only president who can stop the threat of World War III. That the world is now facing. That is why we support President Donald Trump to be restored as a true leader of this nation.
Yeah, beautiful.
So let us all sing the last song together for the glory of God and His love for America.
Isn't that beautiful?
Please call Trump, 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 Trump.
I swear to God, I almost lost it. I'm trying to think of baseball or something. That kills me. That's it. Japanese. And I don't have to tell you what we did to them twice. Let bygones be bygones. Twice. And what's her name has Molly Shannon, who someone says is 60. Oh, man, 60 years old. That killed me. I'm serious. That killed me. I'm not just being schmaltzy. Certain things just, it's beautiful. Japanese people in our country, proud to be Americans. And here's the best part. We say, yes, come here. Just do it, play by the rules like we would in Japan. Great. We love it. There's nobody, the way they portray us to be. Okay. Now, there is a fellow named, I want to get that. Dilly, is it Dilly Memes? Yeah, Dilly Memes. This guy, gal, whatever, they are absolute right there. But you get the kind of the idea of where we're going with that particular type of humor. It's incredible. Jack says, I know you know this, Uncle Lenny, but we are going to miss the F out of Trump when he is gone. I love you. I've been a supporter of you. Thank you. He has been, without a doubt. By the way, watch this. Dilly memes. They have absolutely done the hot dog. I mean, you can't believe it. I'm not a prude. I just, you know what I'm saying. And some people are really into this. You know who's really, into this a little, very angrily, to the point of maybe wondering what's really the story here. And that is Megyn Kelly. Have you seen her? She is just furious over it. You know what I mean? It's just the whole notion of Kamala and, where she comes from, and the Willie Brown thing. And okay. So the good news is, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to win. Wasn't that Japanese rendition beautiful? Wasn't that something? Xander says, I'm laughing my arse off right now with Kamala stuff. Oh, yes. Listen, I am too. Dilly memes here. Let me give you this one. This is brilliant. Hang on a second. Let me make sure I give you this right one here. Absolutely just there. These folks here, hang on a minute. These folks today have replaced the cartoonist. You have, here we go, the Dilly meme. I think it's a Dilly meme team. Yeah. Yep. Here we go. Let me give you this one. This is the link. It's just ingenious. Now, I don't vouch for any of them. Some of them might be inappropriate, but you're an adult and you're able to enjoy this. Today, as I remind you, the way we convey thoughts to people is not through conventional, usual stuff. It's by virtue of the beauty and the sanctity and the glory of this wonderful thing called social media. It is wonderful. It is absolutely, positively wonderful. That's all I'm saying. And I know it, and you know it. And when I only give you people like, what's her name on Morning Joe or whatever it's called, just to give you an idea of the level of complete and total desperation. Seriously, it's incredible. All right, dear friends, listen, thank you so much. Remember a couple of things here. First, Mrs. L, Lynn's Warriors, absolutely on fire. And I'm not just saying it because she's my wife and I love her, which is true. But I'm telling you because it's absolutely the truth. It is the truth. You must follow Lynn's Warriors. Yesterday was on with Sean Atwood. That was a beaut. I hope you saw that one. He's a hell of a guy. And that's it. So anyway, thank you for this. Normally we're on in the morning, but I had some things to do today. But make sure you always stay subscribed to Lionel Nation, so you know when these things are up, and also Lionel Media on Twitter, and Lionel Legal, which is the other one too, and Lynn's Warriors. I think that's it. Preparedwithlionel.com is our sponsor, along with our good friend Mike Lindell at the one and only mypillow.com, promo code Lionel. All right, great, my friends. Have a great and a glorious day. We are going to win this, ladies and gentlemen. And to Susan C, to Xander, Jack E. Johnson, Susan C., Bobby Dowd, and Freedom, thank you so much for your kindness as well. We will see you later at 7 p.m., usual time. And until then, my friends, remember, as we always say, the monkey's dead, the show's over, sue ya, da.